An Aberdeen, South Dakota businessman is running for governor, saying South Dakota is getting too expensive and voters are ready for a new kind of leadership. Tonight, Republican Toby Doeden lays out his priorities and tells us how he would run state government. Here's KTIV's Matt Breen.
Well, thanks for having us on. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Toby Doeden says until a few years ago, politics wasn't a part of his life. He built businesses in South Dakota, then says he started hearing from conservatives across the state who wanted an outsider to step in.
People were just very fatigued with career politicians, and they just wanted a fresh start.
Asked what kind of governor he would be, Doeden describes a CEO-style approach, delegating to experts, setting big goals, and demanding results.
I am very, very good at attracting talented people. I remove obstacles that they maybe can't on their own. And then the most important thing is accountability. I hold them accountable for results.
But Doeden says the issue he hears most on the campaign trail is affordability, blaming inflation, but also pointing to rising property taxes.
Many counties in this state, many areas have seen their owner-occupied property tax double since 2020. I have literally met hundreds of fixed-income seniors that have already sold or are planning to sell their homes because they simply cannot keep up with property taxes.
Doeden argues state government spending is growing faster than revenue. If elected, he'd start department-by-department audits to find waste and return savings to taxpayers.
We have to do systematic statewide audits. We're going to get rid of the waste and the fraud and the fat and the pork, and we're going to return that money back to the taxpayers.
He also takes aim at the state's economic development priorities.
10,000 small companies in South Dakota, Brian, have closed permanently in the last 6 or 7 years. So why aren't we talking about all of the other economic developments that we can do across the state?
Doeden says the conversation should focus more on small businesses. Matt Breen, KTIV News.